Canto 17. Polish the table? No trouble. But chopping wood may prove a burdensome chore. Eben Kent isn't a young man any more. His hands perspire. Pick, tighten grip, or let the blade slip. He squeezes harder as he lifts the axe, swings it, and splits the log. Each splint falls to a side of the stump as he takes another off the pile and repeats the sequence in one style for the entire store. Raise, drop, choose the next, and then chop. He cuts, keeping time with the sea's roar, the crashing of waves against a shore, that tune like the soothing pulsation of divine respiration that underlies the cosmic score, those songs which in him too resound, just that now they're a bit too loud. His temples pound, pain, and his breast aches. Pick again, get some rest, or break a bone. So he sits to consider his half chord. It's a good morning's work, he thinks, as the tremor hits and jerks him toward a sinking grassy floor. What's this? Shifting plates? An earthquake in Kansas? Nature's retaliation for humanity's offenses? Presently, this interpretation is erroneous. My plan is merely to lead us to a happy occasion, the reconciliation before this canto's done, of a prostrate old man and his space-born pseudo-son. Gradually, Eben perceives a green horizon of blades that scratch his eyes and chin. His forearm intercedes, defends his nose and throat from dirt falling into the dew, and though the dust blocks his view, Eben rises and steps in the direction of his task. Then the ground stops, and he tumbles down and passes out in a crater, a feature just added to his estate. Moments later, warm hands cradle Eben's dazed form. Hazy lips ladle air into his lungs, focus, then become those of the boy flung earthward on a dovish ship, whose tiny tip protrudes now, putting Clark's profile in stark relief. The son's been self-apprenticed, this morning's trial having been a brief introduction to a tutorless instruction which will bring him much grief. Skills uniquely Clark's possession, he's practiced landing methods and learned resuscitation. He must develop on his own, acquiring facility in secret till he's grown. At contemplation of this, tears well up in weary little eyes. Pa sits up, gulps bile of fear, and dutifully hears his son's confession. "Father," quoth Clark, his jaw quivering, "I fell, I flew." Shivering within, but outwardly steadfast, the elder Kent holds the younger in supportive silence, nodding subtle approval till the sniffling desists, and without prodding, Clark proclaims his fondest wish. "I want to be human, Pa." Then Eben, awkwardly swallowing habitual stoicism, "Son, you are human." "People don't fly," Clark protests. "But we all cry," Pa insists, making warm his countenance as he loosens the hug. "In his garden, son," he says, "God carved a life array so vast that no creature save the last could he invest with a variety of emotions to display. The strife of youthful days signals the start of much commotion, but proves that you're a part of the grandeur of creation, one, in fact, with its culmination. You qualify." From under Clark's eye he lifts a tear and lets it lie on his fingertips, balanced between them in the air. "And this," he says of it, "is why." Clark chuckles, droplets dry on his cheeks, dampening Pa's neck as he rocks the boy and looks around, his face cramping at a scene as bleak as the moon. He reads it as a sign. Days of want are coming soon. I want this hole filled, son, he says, his former bluntness returning. It'll be done, sir, Clark pledges, before this afternoon. They climb out of the pit and, taking care to omit any upsetting details, Clark tells Pa of his flight and of why Ma might be mad. Eben listens, but is assailed by other concerns. Shattered, he observes, stepping around scattered, silt-covered kindling, wondering whence next winter's warmth will come. They pass the woodshed. Clark turns and glances overhead, relieved at not having been followed. His sigh is premature. Eben goes in ahead of him, and so misses this absurd scene. A flying dog descends with a swoosh, hovers over the Kent's covered porch, then speaks in stentorian tones that would ill befit an ordinary pooch. How long has it been? It asks. 2 years. I am 10, says Clark, keeping his composure as it issues him. Rouse ultimatum. You are a man, then, by our standards, and capable of choice, yet you ran most culpable at the sound of our voice. You may betray us, if you can, but if treachery you intend, tell us, that we do not tarry here. We have needs you could not comprehend. We must be fed, and in far-off lands there are greedy men who would be our hands, whom we can lead joyfully to vassalage and drag their thralls in tow. Our strength then would meet our will, and we would return, Kal-El, to extract your suffrage as well. You know this is true, so why not kneel before us now? Save yourself trouble on the morrow. Bend your knee, child. Great Rao commands it. Pick your pantheon. Clark refuses, and thereby chooses, to make his stand on and for the earth. The rejected dog departs, dejected and doubting its worth. It so hates it when it loses. And with glazed eyes Clark gazes as what was once his pup goes up, up and away. What a day! The back door creaks and even speaks to the dazed boy, charging him with a chore. It shouldn't be any trouble, Pa says, handing Clark a shovel, the one he always uses. Not for you, anyway. And he leaves his son standing. To Clark, the door's slamming sounds louder than ever before, as do the distant squeals of 4 wrought iron wheels. The Ross's coach squeaks. Clark cringes at the screech, lessens his perception of it, and braces for Ma's approach. His hearing's a topic he'd rather not broach just now.